Well, fuck. DeMarcus Lawrence has a broken foot. That is the breaking news update here on the Cowboys Report. Tank was limited in practice today because he suffered a foot injury. Now we have the news from everybody. Tank has broken his foot and at minimum is going to be out for probably around 2 months. And I think that 2-month timeline is a bit of an optimistic one as well. He's going to IR for at least several weeks here for DeMarcus Lawrence and the Cowboys. An absolutely brutal development. This is a massive, massive loss for the Dallas Cowboys. A critical, unbelievable blow as it relates to Dallas in terms of being able to field the best team possible. Lawrence's loss, I cannot understate it today. This is incredibly difficult to lose. You're already without Randy Gregory this week. Now you're down the player who is still your best defensive player. I do want to emphasize that there's nobody better on defense than DeMarcus Lawrence against the run or the pass. He's been their best player. Now he's going to be out for an extended period of time. On the bright side, if there is one in this case, it doesn't appear that the injury is a season-ending one. Here's what Jane Slater tweeted out, friend of the show, of course. Cowboys defensive end DeMarcus Lawrence out indefinitely with a broken foot. Earliest return, according to one source, 6 to 8 weeks. So that's the timeline here that you're looking at in terms of Tank being able to return. That's not by any means a good timeline. That is a very massive blow for a Dallas Cowboys team that is already so thin at defense and with Randy Gregory likely out. Now, Tank himself says he's probably going to be back. This is what Tank Lawrence tweeted out really just moments ago here, since filming takes time after all. We'll be back and ready for war. Believe it, he also threw in the hook'em emoji, the fingers up, whatever, which Tank so often does in his sack celebration. But the emojis weren't working, so I just gave up and accepted that it wasn't going to be a thing for this particular video. Regardless here, a just absolutely massive injury for the Cowboys, as they've been snake bitten for 2 years in a row. Brutal luck in back-to-back years. So with this in mind, what is your one-word reaction to the DeMarcus Lawrence injury? You can drop the F-bomb like I did at the top of today's video. Producer Jeffrey got a kick out of it. There's no more bosses here to tell me what to do and what not to do. But give me your one-word reactions in the comments section. This is the pinned comment on today's video. So if you get the ad break here on YouTube, scroll on down and get your votes in. Now, my one-word reaction, in the words of Captain Holt, pain. This is absolutely brutal for the Dallas Cowboys. A massive, massive loss. Another quick update here per Ian Rapoport. Broke the fifth-metatarsal in his foot. I'm pretty sure that's the pinky toe, if I remember my medical health stuff correctly. Could be back in November, so it might be more of that 8-week timeline. So not season-ending, I don't think, for DeMarcus Lawrence. But make no mistake, this is a huge loss for Dallas. He is the Cowboys' #1 defender. There's nobody better on this Dallas Cowboys team at stopping the run or getting after the quarterback. This is a critical loss, even if it's only for that more 6-week timeline as opposed to the 8-week timeline. That's a big deal for Dallas. The defense was already not great. I feel less confident about the Chargers game than I did now. You're going to be banking on backups at defensive end. That's kind of a big deal given where your corners are at and where your interior defensive line is as well. So what is your panic level over the injury? We asked this question in our original video, then I had to refilm because, news and stuff. It's not a 10 for me because it's not a season-ending injury. But it is going to be, let's just round and say, about half the year, factoring in this previous game, around half the year. 6 to 8 weeks is the timeline here. I hope that's not overly optimistic, but it'll take some time. So what is your panic level? Get your votes in for me on that scale of 1 to 10. Myself, I'm probably at like a 7 or an 8 right now. It's pretty damn high because you are now down, and all that could come week 1. Your 3 best defense, or week 2, your 3 best defensive line starters. Neville Gallimore, already on IR. Randy Gregory, he's on the COVID list. So put that depth chart up there. There we go. Depth chart up. Gregory, COVID list. He's probably not going to play in time back in time for week 2. Gallimore, Lawrence, and Gregory were your 3 best defensive line players. Carlos Watkins looked bad in the first game. Now, Lawrence has not formally been placed on IR, but I'm still going to throw him on there anyway because that's where he's going in the end. And maybe you try to poach Rondell Carter back off of the Cardinals practice squad. Just a thought on that end. But you're down Gregory as well. That's kind of a big deal for the Dallas Cowboys. That's kind of a big deal that in terms of getting me back on screen here. Gregory being out is a huge loss as well. You're down your 2 best pass rushers against a great quarterback. Not a great tandem there in the end if you are the Dallas Cowboys. Now, I'll try to give you guys some good news. It's not a season-ending injury either, but it's still a big deal. So to help mitigate the pain a little bit, we are bringing back the jersey deal through Sunday. Here's how you can get either a Zeke Elliott or a CD Lamb jersey. Head over to chatsports.com/bet. Use the promo code you see on screen right there. It's Cowboys125. That'll get you a 125% deposit bonus. When you go to that URL and you use that promo code and you sign up and deposit at least $100, you will get a 125% deposit bonus and either a CD Lamb or a Zeke Elliott jersey. To claim, email us a screenshot of your account and your first bet. If you have questions, email us too. It's jersey@chatsports.com. That email link, by the way, folks, will be in the comment section, and of course, it'll be in the description. It's jersey@chatsports.com. Let's look back now at the current defensive line depth chart here for the Dallas Cowboys. Terrell Basham, I assume, is going to take over where DeMarcus Lawrence was starting. Dorrance Armstrong was going to start for Randy Gregory. You've also got Chauncey Golston in there as a defensive end option. I'm listing it DT because of space issues with our depth chart. Let's start player by player now, starting, of course, with Dorrance Armstrong. Now, he'll probably take over for Randy Gregory. That was the plan, as we mentioned in our preview video before the DeMarcus Lawrence injury news, as it relates to the Cowboys at the defensive end position. So, for the Cowboys, Armstrong is one starter. He has shown flashes this preseason and even against the Bucs. A lot of pressure is on him now. My expectations will remain low because he is a backup player after all. But Armstrong suddenly is now edge number 1 for at least one game for the Dallas Cowboys. Terrell Basham, then, is edge number 2, the pickup this offseason from the New York Jets. I hope that Basham is able to play well. He played a little bit. He played the 4th most defensive end snaps behind the aforementioned Armstrong, Gregory, and Lawrence in Week 1. He didn't make much of an impact. Now, we've seen flash in last year, not so much this year because he only played 10 snaps, out of Bradley Anae. I think it's time to free Anae. It would appear to me that Anae is at least going to get 20 or 25 snaps in Week 2 against Chargers. They're still going to rotate in Basham and everyone else, and Armstrong and Golston we'll get to in a second. But Anae has his greatest chance ever to prove why he was viewed by so many, including yours truly, myself, as a steal in the 5th round of last year's NFL draft. Then there's Chauncey Golston, who, in hindsight now, the Cowboys might have made a great move to not put him on the PUP list. So initially, the reported plan from Todd Archer and others was that Golston was probably going to start on the PUP list. That would have cost him 6 weeks. Instead, they activated him. They could not put him on IR because he was cleared from the PUP list, so you can't clear someone from the PUP list and then put him on IR. That's not how it works, right? DeMarcus Lawrence, beyond being the team's best pass rusher, by far for a long time now, even though it's not saying that much, has been this team's, I would argue, only competent run defender. It was better in Week 1 this year, thank God. But he has been the only competent run defender for too long. And that is a big-time loss for the Cowboys. How they utilize Chauncey Golston, I'm excited to see. I think he's a pretty decent run stopper. That might be his role early on with Tank out for, again, 6 to 8 weeks or so. Now, Azur Kamara was also inactive in Week 1, and I think he has a chance to be activated as well. One player that I'll just mention verbally here real quick, maybe you see more edge opportunities for Micah Parsons. Maybe you get Leighton Vander Esch, Keanu Neal as your off-ball linebackers, and let Parsons come off the edge in certain pass rushing situations. We saw a little bit of it in Week 1. I wonder if that particular package gets deployed a little bit more in Week 2 and beyond while Tank Lawrence is injured. Now, tomorrow's video on Thursday, we will do DeMarcus Lawrence replacements. I'm picking up the phone. I'm calling guys like Olivier Vernon and more. If you want that video and, daily videos on the Dallas Cowboys, we got mailbags. We got a live watch party as well. Hit that big red button and subscribe. That way you don't miss out on anything here going on at the Dallas Cowboys Report.